Trump's CPAC speech slammed on SNL Weekend Update segment. The Weekend Update segment of Saturday Night Live took aim at President Trump's 2-hour speech, which was delivered earlier in the day at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, outside Washington. It started with Trump. News released by Fox News. Officers won't be charged in killing man in Sacramento. March 2, UPI. 2 police officers who shot and killed an unarmed man won't be charged, the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office said Saturday afternoon. District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert said she talked to Stephen Clark's family in the news released by UPI. Lawmakers exploring possible pardon talks involving Michael Cohen. Lawmakers are investigating whether President Trump's former personal lawyer Michael Cohen was involved in any discussions about possible pardons, which they view as a potentially ripe area of inquiry into whether anyone sought to obstruct justice. News released by The Washington Post on MSN. U.S. South Korea to end key joint military exercises. The decision comes days after the conclusion of U.S. President Donald Trump's second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Hanoi, Seoul. AFP. The U.S. and South Korea said Sunday they will end their annual large-scale joint military exercises as news released by Yahoo News. 5 takeaways as Republicans close ranks at CPAC. The 4-day event amounted to a preview of the Republican strategy as the party prepares to head into 2020. When President Trump and nearly 24 GOP senators will face re-election. That strategy, laid out by speakers and activists at CPAC, appears. News released by The Hill on MSN. Ethics watchdogs sound alarm over Trump tweet. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, CREW, said that Trump was using his position to promote his business. There it is, CREW tweeted. The president is using an official statement as an ad for his business and making sure everyone knows. News released by The Hill on MSN. 3 winners and 2 losers from QB drills at the NFL Combine. Jones is hungry and desperate as ever, and has Garrett coaching for his job. Even if that takes a dent out of some of the star power out of the day, there were still plenty of passers worth keeping an eye on. Namely, Ohio State's Dwayne Haskins is. News released by SB Nation on MSN. Munchies, does cannabis really increase desire for junk food? Healthline Media Incorporated would like to process and share personal data, example mobile ad ID, and data about your use of our site, example content interests, with our third-party partners, see a current list, using cookies and similar automatic collection tools. News released by Medical News Today. Teen who got vaccinated against parents' wishes testifying before Congress. Ethan Lindenberger, 18, of Norwalk, Ohio, said in a video Saturday that he had accepted an invitation from the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions to testify about his experience on Tuesday. Lindenberger told viewers in the video that. News released by The Hill on MSN. Venezuela's Guaido to return home soon, risking arrest. Guaido said he is returning to the country soon and has called for national protests. AFP/Juan Mambromata. Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido has said he would return home after a visit to Ecuador and called for new protests next week against. News released by Al Jazeera English. Brexit supporters give UK PM May 3 tests for EU deal, Sunday Times. London, Reuters. Brexit supporting lawmakers who voted down British Prime Minister Theresa May's European Union withdrawal deal in January have outlined demands for a revised treaty to ensure their support, the Sunday Times newspaper said. Lawmakers. News released by Reuters on MSN. Watch, LeBron James commits inexplicable turnover during horrible night for Lakers. It's really hard to say LeBron James has given up on the season. But this bit of video isn't exactly indicative of a man trying to win games. In the 4th quarter of a terrible game for the Lakers, James committed an egregious turnover. He somehow, on an news released by Sporting News on MSN. UFC 235 post-fight press conference video. Jon Jones will answer questions at the UFC 235 post-fight press conference Sunday. The UFC 235 post-fight press conference is the last piece of business to take care of after the action is over in the octagon, and we have the live video below at news released by MMA Fighting. U.S. stocks finish week higher in lackluster trade. The major U.S. stock indexes finished higher last week, with the Nasdaq Composite posting the largest gain. The ranges were relatively tight, as prices consolidated somewhat after posting weeks of news released by Yahoo Finance. Two major winter storms hitting U.S. this weekend. Winter storm brings snow and rain across U.S. There are two winter storms that may affect nearly the entire U.S. this weekend. A massive storm on the West Coast will soon march across the country, but the first storm is already doing work up and down the news released by CBS News. Letters, do we recognize or ignore our Confederate history? Rebel Memorial to go in 11-4 vote. Council starts process toward removing monument. February 14th news story. No money to fix potholes. No money for raises for police and firefighters. No money available to help homeless. No money to feed the hungry. News released by Dallas Morning News. Experimental Primary School of Suzhou Science and Technology Town / Atelier Z Plus Studio 88, Kai Road Science and Technology Town, National New and High-Tech Industrial Development Zone, Suzhou, Jiangsu Province, China. The Suzhou Technology and Science Town adopts a highly efficient model where the land is subdivided into a grid of various news released by Arch Daily. SNL stages a musical moment with John Mulaney, Pete Davidson, and a gross bodega bathroom. Yep, that was a bodega owner with a singing bodega cat and a trio of Oompa Loompas. One of the highlights of last year's John Mulaney hosted episode was Pete Davidson asking for the uncommon lobster dinner at a local diner. This time around, Davidson. News released by USA Today. Sharon Davies, former British swimmer, says transgender athletes shouldn't compete in women's sport. Transgender cyclist Rachel McKinnon, center, pictured with Jen Wagner-Astley, right, who called her victory unfair. Transgender athletes should not compete in female competitions in order to protect women's sport, says former British swimmer Sharon. News released by BBC.